Today we're making the most delicious banana nut bread that's full of flavor and super moist. To a large bowl, we're going to add 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of salt, and a pinch of nutmeg. Whisk them all together. In another bowl, we're going to add half a cup of light brown sugar or dark brown sugar, half a cup of white sugar. Dark brown sugar gives the bread a more richer color, but in this video, I'm using light brown sugar. Then you're going to add 1 stick or half a cup of butter, of softened butter. And you can either use a whisk or hand blender to cream the sugar and the butter together. After the sugar and the butter have been creamed, you want to add 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract and your banana mash. After that, add 2 eggs and a half a cup of buttermilk. I love buttermilk in this recipe because it just makes the bread that much more moist and gives it an immense amount of flavor. To make the buttermilk, you want to add half a cup of milk and half a tablespoon of lemon juice. Let it sit for about 3 to 5 minutes and you're going to see it thicken. Then add the mixture to the bowl. So make sure you gently stir all the ingredients together. You want to make sure you don't overmix the batter, just mix it enough to incorporate all the flour. After you're done, add the dry mixture into the wet and combine using a spatula. Now you want to add the batter to a loaf pan lined with parchment paper or lightly greased with oil or butter. So I really like lining the inner tin with parchment paper. So what I do is I cut up into the sides of the container and then I just plop the container, the parchment paper inside. So I just make a cut here, make a cut there, make a cut here, make a cut there. Remove it, pick it up, fold it in, and it fits nicely. If you don't want to line with parchment paper, totally fine. You can also use oil or butter and to grease the pan. So here you go. So I personally like more of a rougher texture chop when it comes to my nuts. So something nice and rustic. So after I chop all the nuts up, I'm going to use 2/3 in the batter and reserve 1/3 for the top. And you can adjust the quantities to your liking. If you like more nuts, less nuts, no nuts at all. Some people even add chocolate chips, which is really good. So this is completely your bread. Make it to your taste and I promise you it will be absolutely amazing. See? Nice, coarse texture. Super, super nice. And it makes for an easier chew inside the bread. Instead of having like really big clumps, you want everything to be really smooth and seamless. And in all honesty, you can blend this as fine as you, or chop this as fine as you like. I prefer chopping rather than using a food processor. Because I also don't want it to be too uniform. It makes it look more handmade. So one of my favorite tools in the kitchen is a pastry bend scraper. So easy, makes it so much easier to pick things up. and scoop them inside whatever bowl you're using. And this way, I'm able to get all the crumbs because you want all of that to go in your nuts. Then what you want to do now is just gently incorporate the nuts in. Like I said, you don't want to overwork the batter because the bread will be really tough. And that's it. Then we'll transfer this mixture into our pan. So when you put the batter in the pan, you just want to swish it around the middle a little bit. Just make sure that it is touching every corner. If you want, you can use, is that a spatula? Like an icing knife, yeah, that's what it's called. And just, or a spoon, or a small knife, whatever you have, and just smooth out the top. You just want everything to be, it doesn't have to be that leveled, but I'm gonna make sure it's just touching all forms. Because when it cooks as well, it will spread evenly. So this looks pretty good. So the reason why I love lining my loaf pans with parchment paper is that it makes taking out the bread so simple, and the cleanup is like next to nothing. So all you need to do is just pop it out. Put the hard bits to the side. Then you have your perfectly done bread. And if you want, you can slide it off onto your baking sheet. This banana bread was in the oven for about 60 minutes. So if you want to check to make sure it's done, just take a toothpick, put it in the center, and if it comes out relatively clean, because remember it is moist on the inside, it's good. And then also you want it to rest for about like 10 to 15, 20 minutes after it comes outside of the oven. Then you just want to take your knife and just cut down straight. You can just see how moist the loaf is. Thank you guys, and see you next time. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and till next week.